You were a 16-year-old human and you were close to the Autobots, especially Bulkhead. In fact, you had grown to have a huge crush on him. However, you were too scared to tell him. One day, you had just gotten to the warehouse after a rough day at high school. When Bulkhead sees you, he immediately rushes over to you, picks you up, and hugs you as he happily says, "Listener, I've missed you. How was school?" Then he notices that you seem upset as he asks, "Listener, what's wrong?" And you say, "Just had a rough day. That's all." Then he sits down and says, "Well, want to talk about it? According to Prowl and Optimus, talking about things helps." You chuckle and say, "Well, I don't want to make it so you have to deal with it. So, nah, it's all good, Bulk. Don't worry." Then he says, "Listener, I know you can feel like you're being a burden at times. Slag, I feel like it all the time. But you aren't. Your emotions aren't either. You need to express yourself. Otherwise, well, bad things will happen." You're surprised because you knew Bulkhead was good with emotions, but you never anticipated that he'd feel the same as you. Then you just hug him and say, "Thanks, Bulk. But really, I don't want to talk about it. I'm not comfortable with saying it just yet." And he calmly says, "Well, that's alright. But I'll always be here, no matter what, if you want to talk to me about it." You happily respond, "Thanks, Bulk." After a while, and you're just watching him attempt to paint, you actually think his art is really good. But you can tell by the way the others look that they don't agree. When Bulk shows you a new picture, which you can tell is supposed to be of a forest in some sort of lake, you happily say, "Great job, Bulk. It's beautiful." He blushes and says, "Thank you, listener. You're really the only one who views my art as beautiful." And you say, "Well, that's just because to me it is. Each person has their own personal preference." After a while, and you had just gotten there once more from an irritating, but not as bad as the day prior, day at school, and you hear B teasing Bulkhead, and you hear B say, "Oh, come on, big guy. It's obvious they like you back." And Bulk says, It's unlikely. Even if they did, why?" And then B says, "Who knows why? As they keep saying, love is love." there's no way of really controlling it. Then you go and say, maybe, hey Bulk, what's going on? And then B says, oh, nothing, just trying to convince Bulkhead here that you do in fact like him. And your face goes bright red, indicating that you do in fact like Bulkhead. And B says, see? Now come on, why won't you admit it? After a while, and since Bulkhead finally confessed after about 2 or 3 hours of bees berating him too, you and Bulkhead decided to start dating. And since you two were dating, you decided to give flirting a try. He fails miserably, but you find it adorable. Later, and you two are just cuddling, and you decide to kiss him. When you do, his face goes bright red, but he kisses you back. After the kiss, he says in a sort of lovesick tone, I love you, listener. Then you happily respond, love you too, Bulk. Then you both fall asleep while cuddling.